Welcome back everybody, my name is Nick930 and this is a look at the games I'm most excited for in 2018. 2017 was a great year for gaming, and if you wanted a refresher, you should check out my Game of the Year video I linked at the end of this one. But for now, let's look ahead to the next year at what appears to be an insanely large lineup of great games. Now, a good majority of these games aren't confirmed to release on any particular day in 2018, but they are slated for next year, so we're going to assume that there won't be any delays. Games that have no expected year of release though, like Cyberpunk 2077 or Death Stranding, will not be included. Number 10, Sea of Thieves. The first game on this list is also one of the games we're going to be seeing the soonest. Sea of Thieves is a Microsoft exclusive multiplayer adventure game that lets you sail the high seas with your friends in a sprawling massive multiplayer pirate experience. The game has a colorful, charming art style, so most of the focus here goes into the goofy gameplay, which has you exploring uncharted islands, engaging in naval warfare with other players, and even launching yourself out of your own cannons. While it doesn't look as visually impressive as some of the other entries on this list, I can see this one being surprisingly fun. Number 9, Metro Exodus. The Metro franchise is a linear first-person shooter game with an interesting post-apocalyptic storyline that focuses on a group of people that manage to survive the nuclear winter by hiding in underground metro systems. The first two games were decent and had some incredible visuals, but were ultimately forgettable experiences when compared to other apocalyptic shooter games. But the third entry to the series seems to be breaking away from the dark metro system and letting players explore a large open-ended level. The demo we were shown last year at E3 was almost entirely pre-baked typical E3 footage, but the concepts on display definitely seem interesting, and this break from the same tired formula might be exactly what this franchise needed. Number 8, Far Cry 5. Far Cry has always been a great franchise, and ever since Ubisoft struck gold with Far Cry 3, they've been stuck making mostly the same game every other year. The graphics improved marginally, the gameplay revolves around hunting animals to make wallets, and the marketing for the game revolves around a mostly underutilized villainous promo character. Far Cry 5 does appear to be doing the same exact thing that we've come to expect, but the new American locale along with a stronger variety in usable vehicles does make for an interesting premise, and it has been a while since the last good Far Cry game. Number 7, SpiderMan. Sony has a lot of quality stuff coming out exclusively to their platform this year, and one that looks particularly interesting is a new Spider-Man game. Now, I'm a little skeptical of this game because of the QuickTime events they showed at the E3 demo last year, but honestly, the same can be said about the gameplay in the Batman Arkham games, and those are some of the best action-adventure games available. I think it's time we see a new superhero video game franchise do successfully, using what Rocksteady figured out with their games, and I think Spider-Man is the perfect candidate. The focus on stealth action while also having a smooth and fluid combat system will make for some interesting gameplay, and the ability to swing around an open-world city filled with skyscrapers just like back on the PS2 years ago is something I'm sure a lot of fans will be interested in trying. Really, all this game needs to do well is a solid story and good presentation. Number 6, Anthem. There's an interesting reoccurring trend with new AAA games that has me a little worried, and Anthem only reinforces this. I've noticed a lot of developers jumping on board the success Destiny had by making a relatively shallow MMORPG experience for consoles that blends the fun shooter action of the standard video game with the long grinds of old school RPG games. Now don't get me wrong, I like Destiny and I like Ubisoft's The Division, but I'm a little concerned that EA has decided to try and make their own with Anthem. Anthem looks like a really new and unique concept from the surface. You can fly around in these crazy exosuits in a strange planet and fight cool alien monsters and various other things. But when you break it apart, it looks like another 4-player co-op game with a large open world filled with loot boxes. One thing that does excite me about this game though is the incredible visuals, which once again seem to be using DICE's Frostbite engine. I just hope the studio behind this game works exceptionally hard to deliver more than just eye candy though. Number 5, A Way Out. I'm surprised by how little is being mentioned about this game from 2017's E3 announcement during EA's panel. This is a surprisingly inventive game that has a straight linear plot and centers entirely around the idea of split-screen gameplay. It looks to have a strong narrative along with the potential to be a great experience to play with your friend. I can see this game being a one-and-done deal, considering once you complete the story with your friend, there's probably no sense in going back and playing it again. But honestly, if you think about it, how many times are you going to go back and play games like The Division or Destiny? I think I'd prefer a short linear experience with a friend with a good story over an excessively long experience with a lot of grinding and predictable plots. I just hope A Way Out delivers what it's promising and doesn't flop on all fronts, otherwise developers and gamers alike will lose faith in the old school linear adventure game. Number 4, God of War. Here's another Sony exclusive that looks incredibly promising. Unlike previous entries in the God of War franchise, which were more or less hack-and-slash arcade games, this new God of War appears to be a bit more of an open-world adventure game with a much stronger narrative than in the past. I'm concerned about the massive shift in gameplay style here, but at the same time, the franchise has already gone on a very long time, so maybe a change is a good thing. There's still plenty of gigantic beasts and violent dismemberment from what Santa Monica has shown us so far, so it will be interesting to see if this new entry deserves to be part of the famous franchise. Number 3, Days Gone. It seems like a bad idea to introduce a brand new IP today and it be another zombie shooter game, but Days Gone definitely seems like the right choice. Unlike other zombie games in the genre, Days Gone appears to have the absolute most aggressive zombies to date. Days Gone features absolutely massive hordes of the undead, piling over top of each other and climbing over everything. It looks a lot more like the movie World War Z than anything else, and the potential here alone is intriguing enough. It's still unclear how open-ended this game world will be, but based off of what we've seen so far, I think it's safe to assume this is going to be similar in scope to something like Horizon Zero Dawn meets The Last of Us. Which brings me to my number 2 pick, The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I personally don't believe Naughty Dog will have this game ready by 2018, but if they manage to pull it off, then I cannot wait to pick this up on day one. The Last of Us is one of the absolute best video games I've ever played, and considering Naughty Dog at this point really hasn't disappointed me personally, I expect The Last of Us Part 2 will deliver even more. And before I reveal my most anticipated game of 2018, here's a few other considerations. And my number 1 pick for the most anticipated game of 2018 is Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2. There was no game more awesome than Red Dead Redemption back when it released in 2010. And based off of Rockstar's track record, even Naughty Dog will have trouble competing with Red Dead Redemption 2. My guess is that in addition to an insanely well-written story, beautifully rich environments, and addicting gameplay, Red Dead 2 will also have a massive multiplayer component based purely off of the overwhelming success Rockstar and 2K had with GTA Online. Hopefully that success won't hurt the single-player experience, since that's what I'm most excited for. But we can still expect a lot of content in this game, and it may be the most worthwhile game to pick up this year. And those are the games I'm most excited for in 2018. What do you guys think? What are you most excited to play this year? Let me know in the comments below, and if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.